I want to start, as I did on the day of the Crown apology, by acknowledging the survivors, and in particular to acknowledge that far too many were deaf and disabled New Zealanders who were abused in care. And I want to put very carefully on the record, Madam Speaker, the enormous time and energy that the Minister in charge of the government response, the Honourable Erica Stanford, has put into this. And the comments from the other side to suggest that she hasn't wholeheartedly listened to survivors, met with them, heard their views, and although many of those views differed, to then try to find a way through that will never satisfy everybody's concerns, but satisfied enough for us to at least make a start in righting the wrongs. So I do want to acknowledge the Honourable Erica Stanford, and, you know, as many members across this House have done, those of us who have met with survivors and listened to them are only acutely aware that no amount of redress will take away the trauma that was inflicted upon them. And so it is in that context, Madam Speaker, that navigating a way through where, you know, one of the very common threads that survivors have said is they are sick of waiting. And that was a big consideration in the government working out, you know, this completely new redress system that actually wouldn't have got any redress out the door in the short term. The challenge of that was actually too great for us to accept. And so that's why, by listening to the survivors, by listening to the things that they prioritised in terms of making it simpler, making it easier, giving them one point of contact, some of the key parts in the improvements that have been made have been absolutely in response to the feedback they gave. Is it perfect? It never will be. There will never be a perfect solution to this. But actually, the opposite side of the chamber can't just sit there and say this is about the government's intentions. We've actually announced a significant way forward, which is a start. And no amount of money will ever take away what has happened to a group of New Zealanders that it should never, ever have happened to. But instead, we need to focus on practical things that will mean that we can make progress in redress. And I want to say, Madam Speaker, because the team at the Ministry of Social Development who have dealt with claims already, and actually on Friday with the announcement, as of 2 p.m. yesterday, had almost 350 top-up applications. That is delivering for survivors. As I said, it may not be perfect, but it is a very important start in improving what we have. And I do want to also put on record, Madam Speaker, the team that I have met, who are the ones who are at the end of the phone, who are that one point of contact, are an extraordinary group of New Zealanders and public servants who get up every day to provide support and assistance to survivors of state care. And I want to put on record my thanks to them. There is more work to do, significantly so, and the Minister outlined that. And I also want to make clear, as she asked me to pass on, we still are yet to make decisions about those who are abused in faith-based environments. Madam Speaker, this is an enormous piece of work. It won't just be our government, but governments of the future. And I think we should focus on the survivors, not on politics. Glenn.
Okay, I'm just going to go mask off of this one. What a load of fucking bollocks. What a weak response. You know, she's like, oh, I want to acknowledge survivors. No. You acknowledge survivors by apologising that the 2025 budget and the public sector cuts have resulted in the new redress scheme being delayed, right? Stop making excuses. Own that shit. Own it, right? You've already owned it by saying, oh, yeah, we've cut public sector jobs 9,520 so far, right? Stop making excuses, because people are not falling for that shit. And she's out here, again, like everyone else, oh, there's no perfect system. No one is asking for perfection. They are asking you to uphold the commitment that Luxon put forward in November last year, and I quote, but I want to assure you that it is our intention to have a new single redress system operating next year. Okay? You chose not to do it. You chose to cut the public sector jobs. You chose to make tax cuts a priority. You didn't choose to make this a priority. You had choices, you made choices, and now people are suffering because of those choices.
Yeah.